Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Bronwyn, and today is day 2 of the DCP week. If you didn't know, over the next 5 days, I am making videos that are only about the Disney College program. So if you haven't checked out yesterday's, go and watch that one. I'll have it linked down below, but it's basically just an overall, what is the Disney College program? Definitely watch that one first, come back, and we are here for day 2, which is all about the application process. I have made a video about the application process before that I'm gonna link down below. A lot of the information that I'm gonna give is probably the same exact things that I talked about in that video. I didn't rewatch that one before filming, so we'll see, but if there's anything that I miss in this, hopefully I talked about it in that one. The application for the Disney College program is available online. It's through the Disney Careers website, but if you just Google Disney College program, it's gonna be the very first thing to come up. The application is not open 365 days a year, so I definitely recommend signing up for their emails so that way as soon as the application comes out, you will get notified and can apply as soon as you can. For the Fall and Fall Advantage program, the application normally comes out around the end of January, and for the Spring and Spring Advantage program, it normally comes out around August. The Disney College program and just overall Disney programs also is all over social media. They have Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, so if you follow any of them on there, you will also be able to get the information about when applications open. The very first thing that you'll do when you apply for the program is fill out an online application. It's very basic, and it's basically just asking for your information, where you go to college, what year you are in college, any work experience you have, and you'll also be able to rank the roles. Don't quote me on this, but there's about 15 to 20 different roles that you can choose from, and you'll basically rate them. So you can rank them as high interest, moderate interest, low interest, or no interest. I have a video that kind of talks through everything that I know about the different roles, so I'll also link that one down below. So if you need a little bit more information about the actual roles, you can watch that one. I won't talk about that here. This video will get way too long. Something that I see a lot of people talk about when they're talking about applying for the program is making sure they have keywords in their initial application. So these are things like safety and courtesy, all the words Disney uses to describe their work ethic, I guess. Now, I am not a recruiter. I don't know exactly what they're looking for or how the whole process works of who gets pushed through forward and who does not. However, I know for me, I never put any sort of keywords into my application, so I wouldn't say that putting in those keywords is necessarily make it or break it. When you get to the point of ranking all of the roles, the number one thing that I always tell people is do not put any interest for jobs that you don't actually want. You can put every single role as high interest except for one that you put low interest for and still be accepted for the low interest, because you're basically saying when you put low interest that this is still a job that you would consider. So if there's a job that you know that you really don't want to do, put no interest. It's not going to hurt your chances, or they're not going to think badly of you just because you don't want to do something. But I see a lot of people that get disappointed with the role that they get when they're the ones that said that they would be okay with that job. Now, I get that maybe you didn't get your number one high interest role, and maybe you did get one of the low interest ones that you weren't as excited about. However, you have to know that putting low interest means that you are still agreeing that, yes, I would be okay doing this job. When I applied, I put low interest for a lot of jobs, just because for me personally, it was more important to have a job that I really wanted and one that I thought would pertain to what I was studying in school than to just work for the company. Now, I do think 100%, regardless of what job you have, it's an incredible opportunity. It's definitely going to benefit you in the future, and you're still going to learn a ton. So don't not do the program just because something doesn't directly relate to whatever you are studying. I know there's tons of people that are like pre-med or pre-law, is that a word? I don't know, that work custodial, and it still is a huge benefit because you learn so much just from working for the company. For me personally, however, because I was an arts major, it was a little bit easier to, one of my majors is photography. They have a photography kind of job. I want to put high interest for that one because it made the most sense for me. I also worked merchandise for a program, which I am not studying anything related to merchandise, and I still learned a ton through that role. The program is 100% what you make it. I think another important thing to note is that your experience doesn't necessarily guarantee you a certain role. One of my roommates had tons and tons and tons of merchandise experience. So when she applied, she figured that that was what she was going to get accepted for. She didn't. She got accepted for lifeguarding, which she still loved and had tons of fun doing. Don't get discouraged. If all of your work experience is for a certain kind of area of study, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna get a job at Disney that's the exact same. Another thing to know about that initial application is that you are saying that you have full availability for your entire program season. Time off is not guaranteed. You don't get to pick your hours. You don't get to put your days. You are giving 24 hours a day, 7 days a week availability to whatever role that you are offered. Once you actually come down and start working work. You can put in requests for time off, so it's not like you're never gonna have a day off. I know a lot of people get worried because they have other commitments or they have weddings they're in and that kind of stuff. Definitely once you're down here, you can talk to your leadership team and that kind of stuff, but be aware that you are giving full availability. So if you have a 2-week-long family vacation, maybe this isn't the semester to do the Disney College program. After that initial application, the time period for the next step can be a little while. For me personally, I never had to wait more than a couple hours to be asked to do a web-based interview. However, there are people that have to wait another month before they maybe get that offer. If you don't immediately move on to the web-based interview, I promise that's not the end-all be-all. You're still in consideration until you are told that you are not. So don't freak out just because you see other people that maybe applied after you moving on ahead of you. A lot of people apply for this program and they work as fast as they can to get everything put where it needs to go. Anyways, the next step of the application process is a web-based interview. It'll get emailed to you and I think you have about 2 to 3 days to complete it. This one is a little bit more of getting to know you and what your work ethic is, what you look for in jobs, what motivates you, stuff like that. It's about a 20 to 30 minute web interview. For the most part, it's just multiple choice questions and ranking if you agree, are neutral, or don't agree with stuff. As soon as you finish that interview, you will either get taken to a page that says, congratulations, you're on to the next step, which is scheduling your phone interview, or it will tell you that, unfortunately, you did not pass the web-based interview and you are no longer in consideration. That is one thing that I like, that as soon as you're done with that web-based interview, you know immediately, did I get it? Did I not? Now moving on to the phone interview. Again, the application process is not over. You're not automatically accepted just because you got a phone interview. You'll get prompted to another page which will have all of the times and availability that they are offering phone interviews. You can put in your time zone to make sure everything is right. I don't know how far in advance you can schedule them, if it has to be within a certain time period. Mine normally would just be like within the next week or so, depending on what my schedule looked like that week. But they have tons and tons of availability for those phone interviews. The phone interview is definitely not something to be scared of. The recruiters do an incredible job of making you feel super comfortable and like you're just talking to a friend. On average, the phone interviews last about 15 to 30 minutes. They'll ask you a couple things just to make sure that they have all of your information correct, your name, where you go to school, that kind of stuff. They'll start asking you more generic, just work questions, as well as specific questions about some of the roles that you put interest for. Each phone interview is completely tailored to the individual, so if yours went a little bit different than somebody else's, totally fine. If you Google DCP phone interview questions, you can find tons and tons and tons of lists. Now, I have to say, I was one of the people that looked through those lists and kind of made notes about if I was asked certain questions, what I would talk about. I definitely think that is beneficial. However, I suggest that you don't completely type out and like read out answers. First of all, they're gonna be able to tell that you're just reading something and it may not be the exact same question that you have listed. I just kind of used it as bullet points so that I knew if I was asked this kind of scenario, I would want to talk about this situation that I had already experienced. As an alumni, once I applied for the programs multiple times, each time they more so just asked me about my previous experience working for the company, not necessarily like role specific questions and that kind of stuff. But also that was just how it was for me. Somebody else that's an alumni maybe only asked role specific questions. So again, the phone interview is tailored for every single individual. So don't freak out if yours is shorter or longer than somebody else's. It's not a guarantee of anything. For all of the roles except for character performer, your application process is done there and you're just in a waiting pool. If you have interest in being a character performer, you do have to go to a separate audition, which is listed on the Disney Auditions website. You can be accepted for a different role prior to that audition. However, if you are accepted for character performer, it'll automatically switch it for you. So from there, it's all just a waiting game. You could hear back within a week, you could hear back within a month. It really depends. It's about a 3-month span from the day the application's open until the very last day that you can hear. And there's really nothing you can do except wait in agony. The very first time that I applied for the program and wasn't accepted, I applied the day applications came out, had everything done within that first week, and found out 2 days before the very last day to hear that I had not been accepted. The first time I was accepted, I found out about a month and a half after my phone interview. The summer alumni one was a little bit different just because they sent out all of the summer alumni acceptances in one day. And then for my most recent program, I heard back within about 2 weeks. There are Facebook pages that are really good resources and a great way to make friends throughout the whole process. If you just search Disney College Program Fall 2020, whenever your season is that you're applying, it's very easy to find them. One of the most important things that I try and explain to people is not everybody that applies is on the Facebook pages. So just because you think that you've seen all of the acceptances for PhotoPass, or you think that they're not sending any acceptances for PhotoPass out that day, you don't necessarily know that, because there are plenty of people that apply that aren't on the pages, or plenty of people that are on the pages but don't necessarily post when or what they were accepted for. I also always try and stress to people that just because you don't get accepted your first time, your second time, even your third time, doesn't mean that you will never get accepted. I feel like I'm a pretty good cast member, and I was not accepted on my first try. I felt really good about my application. I felt really good after my phone interview, but for some reason I wasn't accepted. Something that somebody told me as the advice or words of wisdom, I guess, that I always give to people when they are really bummed out that they didn't get accepted. And I always say that if Walt Disney had stopped the first time that he was told no, this whole entire universe of Walt Disney World, the Disney parks in general, wouldn't even exist. So just because you may get told no on your first try or any other try doesn't mean that it's never gonna happen. Keep trying. I think the most important thing though, overall to note about the entire application process is just to be honest. Lying on your resume isn't gonna make you look any better. Lying on your web-based interview may put you at a job that you're not necessarily best for. Same with your phone interview. You really wanna make sure that you are talking from your personal experience and not just what you read or saw in a video about what you should say for answers. Be honest about who you are and why you wanna work for this company, and that's what should allow you to be hired, not necessarily what somebody tells you that you should say. If there's anything that I missed in this video, hopefully I talked about it in my other application video, which again is gonna be linked down below, so definitely go watch that one as well. I hope you are enjoying this whole week of DCP videos, and I will see y'all again in the next one. Bye!